Breaking news this morning, the U.S. and Israel launched strikes on Iran, targeting the country's senior leadership. And Iran is responding. Atlanta News First Alani Latang is live this morning in Norcross at the Persian Cultural Center of Atlanta with what we know. Alani.
Morning, Megan. What we know is that this is tensions that have been rising for several weeks now, and this isn't something that's supposed to take quickly. So President Trump saying that this is a massive and ongoing campaign. Israeli military saying that this is a result of months of planning. And Georgia politicians are already starting to speak up. Governor Kemp on X saying, please join us in keeping our armed forces in our prayers. Now, large plumes of smoke, explosions are being seen and heard throughout the Middle East this morning. Officials say targets of this attack are Iran's senior leaders. Satellite images showing smoke billowing from the compound of Iran's supreme leader, and it's unclear if the leader was there at the time. Again, President saying this could take several days. Iranian state news reports at least 40 people have been killed at a girls' school in southern Iran, at least 45 injured in another attack in Iran's southern province of Manab. President Trump claiming that Iran has continued to develop its nuclear program, and Iran is reacting. They are retaliating by striking towards Israeli and U.S. targets in the region, including Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. President Trump says the objective is to protect Americans against imminent threat from the Iranian regime. Overnight, President Trump calling for a regime change.
The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission.
Flights are already being impacted. Flights in and out of Dubai have been suspended. However, at least 2 flights on their way to Atlanta are still en route. They left around the time of the attack. We do know that at least 1 flight from Atlanta to Dubai has now been diverted to Istanbul. Reporting live here in Norcross, I'm Alani Latang, Atlanta News First.
Alani, thanks for the update. And as this story continues to develop throughout the morning, we will bring you the latest information on air on AtlantaNewsFirst.com and in our free news app.